Welcome back to Sprague & Homestead. I'm Nikki, and here's your question of the week. Now this, I think, is a great question. What is the difference between pedigreed broodstock and pedigreed show stock? So of course, when we're talking pedigreed show stock, most of us know that this means one, it has a pedigree, and two, it is cream of the crop. That means we are adhering to our standard of perfection just as close as we possibly can. And typically the rabbit has it. You know what I mean? That little something extra. Maybe when you set it on a table, it really says, hey, look at me. It's a rabbit that holds excellent coat condition, that's in good physical condition. And like I said, good color, meets the standard, just an animal that makes you say, wow. That's going to be your show stock. Now your brood stock, a lot of times, is stuff that can make the show stock. So broodstock really still needs to adhere to the standard as close as possible. This means that it's going to be the right weight. It's going to have the physical aspects that you're looking for. And usually it's going to have the color and the markings. Now, in some breeds, you see people use things that are not necessarily breeding colors. So like in the Americans, we're only recognized as white and blue. But every now and then you'll get a really nice black, and people will use the blacks in their breeding program. Of course, that would make it a really nice pedigreed brood animal because it's not a showable animal. Other examples of that is sometimes you'll get an animal that it showed and it did okay, but it really wasn't top shelf. It wasn't really competitive. So we move those over into the breeding program and make them brood animals. It can also be stuff like maybe mom got a little overexcited. Sometimes does in their first litter or first couple litters will overgroom kits. So maybe it's missing part of an ear, or maybe it lost a toe. This has happened to me. I've got a couple of really nice does in the barn that are missing digits. And that's because they got chomped off or snagged or whatever happened. They can also pull a nail. Maybe they lost half of a tail, or maybe they broke something at some point. I have a really nice doe that we've shown, and sometimes it gets caught and sometimes it doesn't. You can feel the scar where her tail was broken at some point and rehealed. Now, you really got to feel for it. But, certainly as broodstock, we don't want anything that's a genetic issue, right? So you're not going to take anything that's maybe throwing white toenails. You really don't want to see stuff that's got rye tail. You don't want malocclusion. You don't want size problems. These aren't things that we're going to use as brood animals. But anything else that meets the standard, maybe it's a little narrow in the shoulder, but otherwise makes the standard and has a really nice hind end. That's a good brood animal, right? Because we can match it up with the right say if it's a doe, we'll match it up with a buck that maybe will fix some of these issues. So while it's not a show contender, it will make some lovely stock. So that's going to be the difference between what is brood and what is show quality. So that's it this week from Sprague & Homestead. I will see you next time. Happy homesteading.